It's 10 months since the Taliban took over Kabul, India is steadily increasing its engagement and its outreach with the new Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Over the past few months, New Delhi has tested the waters by the Taliban by making moves to engage with the group's interim government. Joining me now is someone who is the face of the Afghan government in global capitals, from Beijing to New York. Amir Khan Mutaqi is the Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Minister, for speaking with us. Since the Taliban takeover that happened on the 15th of August last year, the Islamic Emirate is yet to gain international legitimacy. What steps are your government taking in this regard?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Islamic Emirate wants positive relations with all world countries. Our current political system is a balanced one, having a weak economy. We have positive relations with our neighboring countries and rest of the world. Our embassies are functioning in several countries and we have sent our diplomats there. Embassies of several countries are functioning in Kabul also. I mean to say there is no hurdle now and work is going on as if our government has been recognized. However, no one has declared it officially. Several countries have come and started their embassies and charitable organizations and are running many economic projects. There are no problems from our end. Instead, we are providing security and full cooperation to them.
Specifically, Mr. Foreign Minister, what exactly are your views with regard to bilateral as well as diplomatic ties with India, which have been suspended since last year?
Our embassies and consulates are functional in India and they are cooperating with us. I believe that the relations of Afghanistan with India will be strengthened in the coming future. Their embassy would function in our country and our embassy would function in there. India and Afghanistan are nearby countries in the region and we should have economic, political and diplomatic relations with each other, which would benefit both.
I want to specifically ask you about the humanitarian assistance. In fact, at one point, India's overseas development assistance was to the tune of $2 billion plus. It is the highest that India gave in terms of humanitarian assistance to any country. What is your view exactly on restarting that humanitarian aid?
India is a very big country full of opportunities. We had announced to the whole world to make investment and open embassies and consulates in Afghanistan. India had several economic projects in Afghanistan earlier. These projects should be resumed and those projects which were left incomplete should be completed and more efforts should be put in for the development of these projects.
I also want to specifically ask you about the desire of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan to reopen the embassies and consulates of many countries, including India, in Kabul. What security guarantees are you willing to provide to international countries to reopen their embassies and consulates?
Why not? Definitely. For the past 9 months, embassies of many countries are functioning in Afghanistan and thousands of foreigners associated with the human rights organization have paid visit to the country. No one experienced any problem or difficulties in the past 9 months. We have strengthened our security and likewise we will safeguard the security of Indian embassy and ensure its safety and will pay special attention in this regard.
Some actions taken by the Islamic Emirate government, like the restrictions on girls' education, about women not being allowed to work, and also the overall general situation about human rights in Afghanistan, have gained a lot of international criticism. What specific steps is your government taking to address this issue?
It is world propaganda and created by some Western media and it has come from the mouth of our enemies. This is the reality. However, the truth is, since the past 9 months, there has not been a single incident where it has been heard that hundreds of women have either self-immolated or committed suicide. We do not have a single woman prisoner in the jails of Afghanistan. In the past 9 months, there is not a single women protester in the jails of Afghanistan who have been imprisoned either due to political opposition or raising a voice against the government. Besides, in the area of education, the classes were stopped or suffered due to the corona pandemic and now 85 to 90% of our classes have been resumed. The boys have been getting their regular education, and in the case of girls, they are getting education till 6th. However, universities have opened for boys and girls where they are receiving education. We have 92,000 teachers in the education sector, including women teachers who are imparting education to others. There are still some difficulties, but solution will definitely come. These are big propagandas and there is no truth in it.
Now, following the withdrawal of international forces last year from Afghanistan, how would you characterize the current relations between your government and that with major powers like the United States, the UK, the European Union, etc.?
We held joint meetings with European Union, European countries and America and Qatar, Norway and other countries. Their ambassadors and representatives have visited Kabul as well. We want normal relations with them. We want diplomatic as well as economic relations with all. We have made some headway in this regard and inshallah, more progress would be made.
We know that there are internal talks going on in Afghanistan with various stakeholders. Can you give us a status of this intra-Afghan talks? Do you find any role for members of the previous government or other political leaders and officers who are there in a previous dispensation? Do you find that there will be space for them in an inclusive government? If so, what more details can you tell us, and what steps are your government taking to build trust amongst the entire political spectrum in Afghanistan?
Islamic Emirate had announced in the beginning itself that they considered the people of Afghanistan as their part, and those remain in the country will live with dignity and respect without facing any difficulties. Currently, we have set up a commission comprising ministers from the cabinet who are making efforts to bring back those people who have left Afghanistan and still having concerns. They should come back and resume their life and occupation in the country. If anyone has any concern or suggestions, share it with the government and do not create an opportunity for an armed struggle which will be detrimental to the government.
One question I do want to press you on is, how do you view relations between India and Pakistan and the role of Afghanistan in it? Because as far as India is concerned, and I'm sure you're aware of this, the biggest problem in the relationship seems to be the training of cadre of LET, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, who are all being trained in Pakistan and sent into Kashmir. What can you tell us about what steps the government of Afghanistan will be taking to ensure that your soil is not used for such activities?
As far as Afghanistan is concerned, we had promised and assured the entire world nobody would be allowed to use Afghan soil against other country. In future, also no one will be allowed to do that. With respect to the relations between the two nations, and whether it is good or bad, we are hopeful that all issues should be resolved keeping in mind the benefits of the entire region. We do not want conflict to continue between the countries in the region, whose result would be detrimental to Afghanistan.
What exactly are the steps that your government is taking? What is the plan to restore trade or business ties, specifically with India? There has been, of course, recovery of drugs, sometimes banned consignments, which are being disguised as other material that have been seized in some ports, including here in India. So what exactly do you plan to do about that?
In 2001, when America attacked Afghanistan, at that time, production of narcotics was at zero. After that, during the 20 years of American regime, drugs were not only sent to India, but were also sent to other neighboring countries that caused damage to these countries. Now, Koknar has been banned in whole Afghanistan. If some old stock is left behind, it will be controlled in the near future. Regarding business, we can start with India in many spheres, especially in the field of import and export of fresh fruits and dry fruits and other resources. As per the requirements, these goods can be exported and imported between both countries. India should promise to arrange flights, and I believe that business in India would reach higher scale in coming days.
You were speaking specifically about food items and agriculture items. What assistance is your government expecting from India in resolving some of these agricultural issues?
As you know, most of the Afghans are farmers and are engaged in agriculture business. Afghanistan has both cold and hot areas. It's a land very fertile. Now we hope and want to export our goods to India, and in the same manner, we need to import some goods from India as well. In this regard, we have concerned ministries who will provide all sort of assistance and facilities. I hope that India will promise to start the trade.
All right, and a final word, Mr. Foreign Minister. Do you have a message for the government of India and for the people of India? And how would you address specific concerns here in India about minorities, Hindu minorities as well as Sikh minorities who are living in Afghanistan?
We have delivered a clear message to the whole world that they should see the ground situation, economy, politics, education, human rights in Afghanistan from a close distance, and not to see Afghanistan that the media and our opponents have set up our image at international level. One should first know the reality before making their minds about Afghanistan. There is no doubt that India is a big country having a strong economy. It has progressed in many fields. Many Muslims are residing in India. Afghans are also doing business in India and frequently visit the country. We want to have a cordial relation with the whole world and with India, especially in the field of economy and political affairs. We don't want anyone to be hurt from Afghanistan's soil. Afghanistan is a war victim for the last 40 to 44 years. Now it is the need of the hour that the world should have shown their blessing towards Afghanistan. They should start work and should start sending humanitarian aids to Afghanistan. In the past 9 months, India has sent wheat and other items as humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, and we want to thank India for that. We want to send a message of our new government that we don't want enmity with anybody and have a positive approach towards all. In the same manner, we have a positive approach towards India and want that air route should be open so that our citizens can visit India for treatment, and similarly our businessmen and workers. The properties of Hindus and Sikhs which were captured by locals have now been handed over to them. So we have a positive approach towards India and want to convey this message to all Indians.
All right, Amir Khan Mutaqi, the Foreign Minister of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, many thanks for speaking with us here on CNN News 18.